Issue 4. Top 20 things that adults should do. One, they should stop smoking. 2, they should stop drinking. 3, they should stop nagging their children. 4, they should stop yelling. 5, they should stop arguing with each other. 6, they should not be allowed to hit their children. 7, they should make enough money to keep their families happy. 8, they should spend more time with their families every day. 9, they should be more honest. 10, they should let their kids do anything they want. 11, they should stop making excuses, such as, I'm busy. 12, they shouldn't impose ridiculous curfews. 13, they should increase their children's allowances. 14, they shouldn't have any favorites among their offspring. 15, they shouldn't interfere with their kids' friends. 16, they shouldn't be allowed to divorce until their children are grown up. 17, they should stop acting like hypocrites. 18, at least one of them should stay at home instead of going to work every day. 19, they should stop believing good grades are the most important things their kids can have. 20, they should understand that we kids will decide our own future. While compiling this list, I realized that my parents would not pass the test. On Monday, I got into trouble at school. My mother screamed at me for what seemed like hours and then spanked me. That night, my dad came home really late. He had been drinking, and the fight between him and Mom woke me up. Tuesday, I wanted to spend some time with my friends after school, but Mom ruined my plans by not giving me any more money and by telling me I had to come back home too early. On Wednesday, my father lectured me on the dangers of smoking and drinking. Boy, he should practice what he preaches. My father smokes like a chimney and drinks like a fish. And I never see him except on Sunday, but he's usually too tired to have much fun with. Mom's a little better. She works, but spends more time at home than he does. But on Thursday, she wouldn't let me alone. She was after me all evening to do my homework better. I've heard the good grades are necessary speech so many times, I know it word for word. So it isn't even the end of the week yet, and already my folks have hit most of the points on the list. I'm sure by the end of the weekend, they'll manage to get a perfect score. What does it mean? 1. He should practice what he preaches. 2. My folks have hit most of the points on the list. 3. I've heard the good grades are necessary speech so many times, I know it word for word. Comprehension. 1. Why is the speaker so unhappy? 2. How was she punished? 3. When is the father at home? 4. Does the father smoke? Does he drink? What about Mom? 5. How many adult rules were broken on each day?
Team Talk. One. Do you think the situation described is ordinary? 2. How many of these rules apply to your own parents? 3. Which item on the list do you agree with most strongly? Why? 4. Which one do you disagree with the most? What are your reasons? 5. What would you add to this list? 6. If you were an adult, do you think you could pass all 20 items?
Opinion samples. 1. It is natural for a young person to feel alienated from his parents. Adults are more mature, more tired, more experienced, and less idealistic than kids are. They realize that the world is not a perfect place, and they can't always do the things they really want to do, even if they hope that life will be better for their own kids. Boys and girls may see the world with great innocence and clarity, but they are still protected from most pressures and hardships.
Questions. 1. What do you think about the way the world is? 2. Do you think you can be anything you want if you try hard enough? 3. Do you always appreciate your parents' support? How and how often do you express it to them? 2. If adults have lost their ideals, they should not put the blame on how difficult things are. They ought to confess that they have made bad choices, and they should try to do better in the future. But above all, they should understand that their children want to look up to them. Teenagers do not know all the answers either, of course, but often they clearly know how things could be better. And they can also be more critical about their own behavior and change their bad habits more easily than adults can. But only if everyone in the family is equally honest and willing to try as well. Kids are people too.
Questions. 1. Who do you think is more honest, the typical adult or the average kid? Why? 2. Are you ready to admit when you're mistaken? 3. What are your bad habits? Have you tried to change them? 4. Why may it be easier for kids to change their ways than it is for grown-ups?
Dialogue. Didn't I tell you to concentrate on your studies?
I tried to, but it was hard to find the time.
You had plenty of time to spend talking with your friends and watching television.
Well, I need friends, don't I? And I only watch TV with you and Mom.
Don't make excuses. You could have left the living room and studied in your bedroom.
Maybe, but you and Mom don't spend enough time with me. I didn't want to be by myself.
We can spend time together after you've done your homework.
But then you always make me go to bed right away.
You always have a clever comeback, don't you? Instead of arguing, you should just do what I say and concentrate on your schoolwork.
I'm not arguing.
Stop it.
What about you? You said you'd help me with my work if I didn't understand it. But all you ever do is spend time glued to the TV set. But if I ask for help, you say it's been a hard day at work and you're tired.
You're just a kid. You don't understand how hard it is to be an adult. I have a lot of responsibility on the job and as a parent, but I need to relax too.
Why is it okay for you to make excuses, but you won't ever listen to my reasons for falling short of your expectations?
Questions. 1. Who is right in the argument between Sally and her father? Why do you think so? 2. Is there some way parents and children can discuss important things together without seeming to argue? 3. Do you have a weekly schedule devoted to how you spend your time? A definite study period, a certain time frame devoted to socializing, an exact time set aside for hobbies or relaxation?
Read and discuss. 10 reasons not to hit your kids. 1. Hitting children teaches them to become hitters themselves. Extensive research data is now available that show a direct correlation between corporal punishment in childhood and aggressive or violent behavior in the teenage and adult years. Virtually all of the most dangerous criminals were regularly threatened and punished in childhood. Youngsters learn attitudes and behaviors through observation and imitation of their parents. Thus, it is the responsibility of parents to set an example of empathy and wisdom, not aggression and violence. 2. In many cases of so-called bad behavior, the child is simply responding in the only way he can, given his age and experience, to the neglect of basic needs. Among these needs are proper sleep and sufficient freedom to explore the world around him. But his greatest need is his parents' undivided attention. In these busy times, few children receive sufficient time from their parents, who are often too distracted by their own problems and worries to treat their children with patience and understanding. So the bad behavior is often merely an effort to attract parental attention. It is surely wrong and unfair to punish a child for responding to neglect in a natural way. For this reason, punishment is not only ineffective in the long run, it is also clearly unjust. 3. Punishment distracts the child from learning how to resolve conflict in an effective and humane way. A punished child becomes preoccupied with anger and fantasies of revenge, at the expense of an opportunity to learn more effective methods of solving the problem at hand. So, he learns little about how to handle or prevent similar situations in the future. 4. Punishment interferes with the bond between parent and child. After all, it is not in human nature to love someone who hurts us. The true spirit of cooperation which every parent desires can arise only through a strong bond based on mutual love and respect. Punishment, even when it appears effective in the short term, only produces superficial behavior based on fear, and this good behavior will only last until the child is old enough to resist. In contrast, cooperation based on respect leads to permanent behavior patterns. 5. Many parents, in their own childhoods, never learn that there are positive ways of relating to children. When the parent is unaware of alternative methods of behavior modification, punishment may escalate to even more frequent and harmful actions against the child. 6. Anger and frustration which cannot be safely expressed become stored inside. Angry teenagers do not just fall from the sky. They are slowly created over many years. The fury that has been long accumulating often explodes when the child feels strong enough to express this rage, much to the surprise and dismay of the parents who caused it. Punishment may appear to produce good behavior in the early years, but this is always at a high price, paid by parents and by society as a whole, when the child enters adolescence and early adulthood. 7. Even relatively moderate spanking can be physically dangerous. Blows to the lower end of the spinal column send shock waves along the length of the spine, which are potentially injurious. Some children have even become paralyzed due to nerve damage caused by spanking, and even mild paddlings have been fatal due to undiagnosed medical complications. 8. Physical punishment gives the dangerous and unfair message that might makes right, that it is permissible to hurt other people who are smaller and weaker than we are. The child victim then concludes, logically, that it is okay to mistreat younger children, and after becoming an adult feels little compassion for the less fortunate, but greatly fears those who are more powerful. This will hinder the establishment of meaningful relationships essential to an emotionally fulfilling life. 9. Because children learn through parental modeling, physical punishment gives the message that hitting is an appropriate way to express feelings and to solve problems. If a child does not observe a parent dealing with some difficulty in a creative and humane way, it will be very difficult for him to learn how to do this on his own. For this reason, poor parenting is usually inflicted in the following generation as well. 10. Gentle instruction, supported by a strong foundation of love and respect, is the only truly effective way to bring about commendable behavior, because it is based on strong inner values instead of superficial action based primarily on fear.
Questions. 1. Does corporal punishment work in your opinion? Discuss your answer in detail. 2. How do you feel about teachers using corporal punishment in school? Are there any reasonable restrictions that would make the practice acceptable? 3. Do your parents sometimes smack you? If so, how do you feel? Do you think it works from your parents' perspective?
Pictures talk. 1. Questions. 1. What values are important in adult friendships? 2. What values are important in teen friendships? 3. Talk about the differences in friendship among adults and teens.
2. Questions. 1. Do adults lie and badmouth others more often than teens do? Explain why or why not. 2. Why do some people become less polite or more hypocritical as they get older? 3. Who is the coolest adult as far as teens are concerned? What cool characteristics do they display?
What's your advice? 1. My parents are too busy to show any interest in me. They both work outside the home until late at night, and on many weekends too. If they are home, they are either working on a job-related project or they seem tired and listless. They support me well. They give me enough pocket money and buy me fashionable clothes and other things. But they don't know who any of my friends are or what my grades in school are. They never seem to be interested in my life or problems. If I ask them about something, they just say, "Isn't it your life? You take care of it." What should I do?
2. My parents do everything for me. They decide to have a party for me and invite my friends. They introduce me to other kids my age and arrange dates for me. They provide me with my wardrobe without ever asking me what I like. Of course, they decide what I should do on weekends, and usually their plans include enjoyable things. They buy books and hire tutors for me. All I have to do is study. I never have to make any decisions on my own, and I'm never by myself. They always say, "Don't worry about your future. We'll do everything for you." I know they are doing their best to make my life successful and happy, but I don't know whether or not they're good parents. What do you think?